So you go to the same junior high school as your genius sister did, and you have the same science teacher that she did, and that science teacher can do nothing but remember how amazing your sister is. If you're Alex Mack, what do you do to live up to that unfair expectation? Well, if you have superpowers, maybe they come into play. This is The Secret World of Alex Mack, Episode 3, Shock Value, on Mack Mondays. Hi, how are you? It's great to see you. I am RazMansReality, here to alter your reality on film, TV, and comics. So if this is your first time here, and that is your passion too, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification icon so that you don't miss anything. As always, if you'd like to pick up The Secret World of Alex Mack to follow along these episode breakdowns with me, my Amazon affiliate link to pick up this series is down below in the description box at no extra cost to you. Also, if you've seen Shock Value before, let me know your opinions about it in the comment section down below. And also, just because for whatever reason the overlay correction in the editor didn't work last week, I do want to point out that there is no kitchen involved in episode 2. In fact, the girls cleaned up the outside cafeteria area in the episode. Now on to episode 3. Alex is crunched down, hiding from embarrassment here, as the embarrassment has caused her to have her glowing power, as she just got done talking to her friends Robin, Ray, and the debuting Nicole about how unfair her science teacher had been treating her, comparing her to Annie, only to have her science teacher appear behind her and confirm that he does not grade on a curve. So naturally, Alex is mortified by this, thus triggering the reaction, which, as you can imagine, causes her to fantasize about how she would get out of the situation with her powers, as we see her letting her science teacher know that she does in fact have these powers, and causing him to float over Paradise Valley. We are then shown Vince and Dave inside Daniel Atron's office, as Daniel Atron has point blank asked why Dave is still employed and why she shouldn't fire him immediately for causing the accident with the GC-161 spill on the kid. Vince tells Ms. Atron that Dave is the only one who ever saw the kid, so unfortunately he is a valued asset. Meanwhile, Alex has realized that she is going to have a real problem with science if she doesn't figure out some way to impress her teacher, realizing that she may have to, unfortunately for her sake, ask Annie for help. So she goes to her mom and tries to ask for advice about the situation in code. And because this is 90s TV and 90s moms know everything, Barbara Mack's immediate response to her daughter when she asks what she would do is, "I think I would have to ask Annie for help." So a little funny moment there. And it wasn't until rewatching this series that I found this particular trope of the 90s parents knowing everything about their kids extra funny, because they think they know everything about their kids. They think they can read their kids' mind, yet the entire time her daughter has superpowers and she has no clue. This trope in reverse type thing just really made me laugh out loud when going over this episode again for the breakdown. Alex does indeed reluctantly go to Annie and realizes that her best course of action is to ask Annie if she has any of her old science projects that she can reuse for the class. And she spots this one involving light bulbs and their powered use that she settles on to use. Meanwhile, Vince has hatched a plan to disguise himself and Dave at Atron Junior High as janitors to spy on the kids. And so here we see him with his spy camera eyepiece. Alex is in science class presenting her project, only to have her science teacher less than impressed by the project that she chose. So of course Alex realizes that she has to make them do something spectacular and uses her telekinetic powers to make the lights go crazy. The reality of the situation, of course, then sinks in, and after telling Annie what she did, convinces Annie after Annie says that if she helps Alex get out of this situation, that she has their room alone for a few days, to go back to the science lab with her and show her how to actually make the project work. And naturally, being in the science lab after hours causes immediate problems for the girls as they discover that Dave and Vince are there trying to find the GC-161 kid. Alex, of course, puts two and two together and realizes that the use of her powers in the science lab earlier in the day tipped them off as to activities going on within the school. So they now have to figure out how to get Vince and Dave away from the room and Alex out of the science lab safely, while still allowing Alex to master the project. So Annie tells Alex to continue her work, make sure she can get the project working, and she will take care of Dave and Vince. And she starts to set that in motion immediately as she finds them right outside and tries to point them in another direction. Meanwhile, we see that Alex has in fact begun to master the project and is very happy with herself that she was able to do so. She in fact, however, has no time to enjoy feeling good about mastering the project as her science teacher is trying to re-enter the room. To which Alex, of course, immediately realizes that if she's going to get out of the room at all, she has to stall him, so she utilizes her telekinetic powers to make the chairs float here, and causing informational paper that was on another door to fly to that window, covering it up so that no one can see inside, and then utilizing her telekinetic powers again to make these thumbtacks fly through the air. Vince and Dave then utilize their disguised ability as janitors to let the science teacher back into the room after he reports strange goings-on in his room. Vince is then electrocuted by Alex and the project as it was left on, coupled with her powers and a water puddle down below. Dave, of course, being who he is and thinking that he's actually a janitor, tries to wipe up the puddle, but of course we all know that it's not a puddle. It is in fact Alex in her disguised morph state, as this was the only way that she could not be seen by the people entering the room. Dave is chasing the puddle, and Alex does indeed manage to escape. This, in my opinion, was one of the more funny points of the episode. It is the next day, and we see a very proud Alex be able to explain truthfully through the information she received from Annie about how this science project actually works. And a very impressed teacher gives her an A and says to her that he expects nothing less than this stellar performance from her from here on out. Something that, unfortunately, because this is 90s kids TV, and they probably didn't think at this point in time, this early on in the show, that they would need to continue with continual threads throughout the program, although that, of course, is one of the hugest calling cards of The Secret World of Alex Mack, and what makes it one of the strongest shows of the era, bar none. In the case of Alex's quote-unquote smarts coming back to perhaps bite her in later episodes, it was not revisited, which I would have liked to have seen because I really enjoyed this episode and what that problem created for her, and thus feel that future episodes would have been fairly interesting. Her powers and smarts do come in play in other ways, but never directly because of science class. Alex is also very happy as just before she begins her presentation, she was able to look out the window and see Vince on his 90s cell phone here to Miss Atron, telling Miss Atron that he and Dave have given up on Atron Junior High and are moving on to the rival junior high school, meaning that she has once again survived their attempts to find her. And the episode ends with one of my favorite ways for Alex to utilize her powers at the end of an episode, forgetting Annie's milk that Annie asked for and utilizing her telekinesis to float the milk up the stairs to her. So by far a much better episode than episode 2, and really started to show you just how good this show can be. And just you wait until next week and episode 4, because man, do we have some awesome things happening in that episode. If you haven't already subscribed, you can do so right now by hitting the round subscribe icon to my left. Check out The Secret World of Alex Mack playlist to catch up on any videos you may have missed, and support RazMansReality on Patreon. And as always, this has been your RazMansReality check.